I bet you Lunar Wisdom's sitting there being like, are you ever going to say anything? No. No, I'm not. We're going to talk about nothing because there's no one here. So no one cares. But someone left me a comment. And I wanted to talk about this. And I wanted to do it live because I'm far too lazy to record a video right now, okay? I'm downloading a crap ton of my videos that I have recorded from iCloud, and now I've got to go and edit them all, and too much work. Anyway, someone asked me how you connect with your spirits on a regular basis or how often. That was from Shadow Sun. I'm not doing no live Preacher Man Sundays thing. I gave up on that. I hate going live. Me and Lunar Wisdom were talking about this. I hate going live alone. Okay. And I don't have any witchy friends in this community that want to do 2-3 hour long chats. Okay. Lunar Wisdom is only about her hour-long stuff, and Solitary Luna is too busy these days. She got a whole family to raise. She ain't got no time for 3-hour live chats. So, how often do I connect to my spirits? I don't have an answer for you. Because for you, it's going to look like every day if you watch my YouTube channel. And there's a bunch of new Tubians here, probably from Tickety Talkities, so I love all of you. Welcome to our love, our light, our sunshine, our hippies, and our dippies, and our crystal-loving Wicca-Bickas, okay? We love all of you. That's what we're doing in 2021. We're loving everybody. Like, we don't have time to hate people anymore. I mean, I hate everybody, but we don't have time for that. So we need to be, I don't know. But anyways, going back to the spirits thing. So to you people watching me on YouTube, it'll look like I'm connecting with my spirits or whatever every day. It'll literally look like that, because if you watch my videos, I mean, a lot of them are pre-recorded, and some are done in the same day, and some are not, and some are spread out weeks. You know, like, took me weeks to record the next one, or whatever the case may be. And so to answer the question, I don't know. Although I have a feeling that Lunar Wisdom's first question would be, how do you define spirit? Let's start there. So how do we define spirit? Well, obviously we define spirit, as most witches would, by defining it as being a dead thing. Usually spirit, for me at least, spirits of the dead, it's like dead people walking through my house, okay? Like, not what you see on TV where you see like the see-through ghost that's walking through somebody's house and they're like talking to them. No, it's more like, it's energy. It can take, not corporeal, but it can take a familiar form, but it's just energy. So the little old lady that sometimes passes through my house isn't actually a little old lady. At least I don't think it is. It's just energy that's taking the form of the little old lady, okay? Everything and anything is just energy. We're energy, you're energy, I'm energy, God is energy, Lunar Wisdom is energy, her kids are energy. We're all just energy. Okay, but we humans and animals and other species take a physical corporeal form on the physical plane, whereas spirits and entities and deities and demons and saints and whatever else it is that you people work with, they don't. They are just pure energy that will manifest in some way for you to perceive them, if you will. So how do we define spirit? Spirit is defined as pure, but maybe not pure energy, because that's like deity form. Because deities are more pure energy. Spirits are like, they're energy, but it's, I don't know how to describe it, okay? We're just going to leave it at that. It's energy. It's just energy, okay? We're not going to get into pure and dirty energy. It's just energy, okay? But it's a different type of energy, because the spirits of the dead still have a connection to the physical. So not only do you get the spiritual energy, but you also get the physical energy that they once had, if that makes any sense. This is just my craft, okay? However your craft works is just however you do things. Lunar Wisdom is sitting there and being like, great, this is as bad as a book review. Anything else you'd like to talk about? We could talk about my life and how it's a failure, but we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to continue talking and rambling about nothing, because that's what I do on the witchy shows. We ramble about nothing. We sit here and we talk to a screen where no one's watching and no one cares, and we just ramble. Welcome to the witchy show. Anywho, okay, so they're just like, spirits of the dead are entities of energy that also have a physical attachment because they were a living thing at one time, okay? They're now dead, but they were a living thing. I don't think, in my opinion, when we die, we completely release ourselves from the physical. I think some people will hold on to the physical, and that's where you get this whole, like, angry spirits thing. Which Hollywood has completely just... I don't even know how to describe an angry spirit without pointing you to Supernatural, which isn't even correct at all. Has any of you dealt with an angry spirit? There's none of you watching, so no one will answer. But, so, spirits in general. So when I talk about spirits, I don't just mean spirits of the dead. There's also spirits of the land, okay? That has its own energy. Have you ever felt the energy of earth versus the energy of fire, versus the energy of wind, versus the... I'm not talking like the physicalness, like the putting your hand close to a fire and feeling that it's warm, or putting your hand on the earth and feeling that it's solid, okay? I'm talking about the actual energies. And you don't need these elements to be physically around you in order to feel their energy, okay? By rubbing your hands together and then just like separating them, you can feel the warmth, which is, in my opinion, the element of fire, right? And then if you place your hands and feet on the ground and just visualize the earth's energy, and the way that I like to visualize this is like a white light that just comes up from the earth and goes through my body. That's how I visualize energy, okay? It's difficult to visualize energy, people. So anyways, I visualize this white light that comes up from the earth, and it doesn't matter if you live in an apartment. It doesn't matter if you live in a penthouse. It doesn't matter if you live in the attic of your house, because the people that are like living in the house are keeping you hostage in the attic. Like maybe you should be using your time right now to phone the police and not be watching my live stream, but you do you, okay? You do you. No one's gonna fucking bitch. So anyways, so you're sitting in this attic, you're a captive of these people that live in the rest of the house, and all you have to do is just visualize the earth's energy welling up from the actual earth itself through whatever, you know, it doesn't matter if you're in an apartment or whatever, but you're just visualizing it welling up throughout you, right? And with wind, it's easy to feel that energy, because if it's windy outside, right, and you're inside, you can feel the energy, right? Like, you people should know this. You take a shower and you can feel the way that it changes your energy. Okay, maybe you're really angry and pissed off because nothing is working in your house, so you decide to go and take a shower, and you feel better afterwards. That's like the energy washing, right? Like that's water's energy washing away all the negativity, right? Basic crap 101. We should all know this. But in terms of like how often I communicate with these spirits, I mean, they're always around. But like in terms of how often do you go to the altar and communicate with them? Like 2 weeks ago? I don't know. When was the last time I recorded a video? Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Because I was doing a working... I can't remember what the last video was. No, the one before that. The one before that. Oh, that was a Dentalian working. You're like, where's this Dentalian working? We want to see a Dentalian. It's coming. So I was doing a Dentalian working, and that was the last time that I reached out to them. Now, how do I reach out to them? Because you all see whenever I do my magics, I'm usually just sitting there and I'm just putting intentions into things, right? We're just with our little homosexual hands and we're just... Lunar Wisdom, quick look at your screen. I know you're not looking at your screen. I know you're away. I know you're somewhere else doing laundry, but look at your screen. Isn't this creepy? Anyway, I'm having a fun time on the internet. And if you don't want to have a fun time on the internet with me, then go to my live chat. That's all I have to say. I'm just having a fun time on the internet. So I don't connect with my spirits on a regular basis because I'm not the type of witch that needs to be at the altar all the time. Now, Lunar Wisdom would probably say that we're always in connection with our spirits because as witch, we are always witch. And I don't know, logic here. So I kind of agree with, see, it's like I'm having a conversation with Lunar Wisdom, but she's not even here. I'm not allowed to be on her live chats anymore. Just kidding. I'm joking. So I don't always connect with the spirits in the way that we're thinking, in the way of lighting candles, maybe burning incense, maybe conjuring them, maybe whatever it is you can think of in terms of communicating with your spirits. I don't always do that. Okay? Just burping all over the place. So sometimes I will communicate with them through tarot cards. I've talked about this many times. It works amazingly with the Morrigan, not so well with the spirits. The spirits have their own way of communicating. So with the Morrigan, as I've said numerous times before, reading the Celtic cross is how we most of the time will communicate if I feel like she's trying to get a message through and I can't pick up on it. Okay? Spirits used to always be around. Spirits of the dead, the land, the ancestors, just the spirits, as I like to call them. They used to always be around, but because things are shifting, things are always shifting, okay? Us witches, we are never, ever, I want to say sterile. I would hope we're not sterile. We're never, what is the word I'm looking for? It's the word where we're like motionless. There's a word for it. Motionless. We're just going to go with motionless because I can't think off the top of my brain right now. I haven't smoked a weed today, okay? So we're never motionless. We're always moving. We're always growing. We're always expanding. We always have new ideas. We have new thoughts. We have new brain patterns, we have new whatever. Like no one cares. Our experiences shape us and change us and mold us. Okay, so as witch, we're always growing. So we may work with the spirits for today, or 10 years, or 20 years, and then we may work with the Morrigan tomorrow for 5 years or 10 years, and then we may change to Hecate a week later. Don't datey hop, okay? Like, I don't understand people who datey hop. This is a thing that hasn't been talked about for a very long time on YouTube because it's not a thing anymore. Like, no one does it. But I wanted to bring back up this topic. It's called necro posting. Who's ever used a form before? And I'm not talking the kind that you fill out for your information. I'm talking the kind where you interact with other people. Okay, we're not all that old or young. Some of us are very old. Okay, I'm very ancient. A couple hundred years on Lunar Wisdom at most, and a couple thousand on Solitary. So, what was I saying there? Forms. Oh, yes. So on these forums, right, people would sometimes post in threads that are like 6 months old. That's called necroposting. So we're going to necropost a subject that was talked about a long time ago called datey hopping, because I can. And no one cares about what I put on YouTube anyway, so whatever. So with datey hopping, it used to be a thing where you would hear about a witch, doesn't matter who, you would hear about a witch who would be working with Hecate for maybe 2 weeks, maybe a month, and then they would switch to the Morrigan. And then out of the blue, they would switch to, I don't know, Odin. And then out of the blue, they would switch to Loki. That's called datey hopping. And the reason it's bad is because you can't develop a relationship with the deities. I'm a firm believer, and whatever you do in your craft is whatever you do in your craft, so don't come for me. But I'm a firm believer that building a relationship with a deity is very important. It's kind of like calling up the president of the United States and being like, "Hi, I need money." Right? Like, I don't think anybody would just call up the president of the United States and be like, "Hi, I need money." Right? And most Christians have a relationship with God and Jesus. So I can't see, I mean, there are some Christians out there who do this, but I can't see the devoted ones being like, "Hi, God, I need a favor. Thanks. Okay, bye." No, you build a relationship, right? I've been building a relationship with the Morrigan for a year, 2 years, almost 2 years, almost 2 years, I think. I think. Okay. Now, when it comes to the spirits, they kind of built the relationship around me, okay? Like, they kind of built our relationship for me, right? Like, there was one time when I reached out to the spirits of the dead. I had done up my circle. Okay, I was a very new witch. Okay, I was very inexperienced and had no idea what I was doing. But I had built up this circle of parsley because I had read that parsley was good for spirits of the dead. I had placed a white candle at one end of the circle and a white candle at the other end. So like an entrance exit thing. And I had offered an apple at the exit because apparently dead people like apples. So from there, I just conjured the spirits and was like, pass through my circle and pass along any messages that you may have. It's a very daunting, very depleting kind of ritual slash exercise. I don't know what you would call it, but maybe it was a ritual. I don't know if it was a ritual. How do you define ritual? Let's start there. We're not actually going to define ritual because I'm going to leave that up to Lunar Wisdom. See, Lunar Wisdom, there is a video topic for us to talk about. Rituals. How do you define ritual? She doesn't love me the way she used to, so we'll never get to it. Anyways. You're like, you're just jealous she doesn't have you on a channel every week. Maybe. Maybe, baby. Maybe, baby. Anyways, going back to the topic, because there's only like, what, one of you here? How many people are here? Christ. I picked the worst times to go live. No one's here and no one cares. So, fuck, where were we? I went on a completely different tangent. If anybody's watching, somebody fucking tell me where I was. Where was I? Oh, rituals. Thank you. Thank you, non-existent internet. Thank you for telling me where we were. So we were talking about rituals. So I was doing this ritual to communicate with the spirits. And all I basically did is ask them to come through my circle. Like I had opened a door for them to walk through my circle. Okay. And the amount of energy that was coming through that circle and going to the other end, I now fully understand why it is that most people don't have doorways in their circles. Okay. Don't have a doorway in your circle. But I did because I wanted to feel that raw, unadulterated, unpolluted, spiritual energy that would just rush through me. And what a rush. Okay. Like you feel exhausted, depleted, emotionally exhausted, mentally exhausted after this type of experience. I have not done it again since. Okay. I have not done that particular ritual again because it's worse than contacting Belith. I'm burping all over the place, I know. It's worse than contacting Belith. Let me put it that way. Now, I did have, oh wait, we're still on the topic of spirits. So, see, this is why it's hard to go live alone because I'm just talking to myself. I don't have anybody else to bounce ideas off. God, where the hell is Lunar Wisdom? It's only like 11:16 a.m. there. Anyways, so I haven't done that ritual again because of the sheer amount of energy, right? And that was kind of an introduction for me to the spirits. That was kind of my way of saying, I am here and I am ready and willing to accept you. So from then on, it's mostly been the spirits that have been in contact with me. Okay, they tell me what to do. They tell me when they want it done. Sometimes I can push it off to because sometimes if you're working with spirits or an entity that communicates with you and says, "Hey, I want X, Y, or Z to be done tonight," right? You might be really mentally and emotionally exhausted from the day that you've had, and I wouldn't recommend working magic. That's where what I will do in those cases is offer the spirits an offering and say, I will do this tomorrow. Now, make sure you follow through on what you say you're going to do, because if you keep coming back to them and say, oh, I'm really tired today, I'll do this tomorrow. Oh, I'm really tired, I'll do this tomorrow. Oh, they're going to get really pissed, okay? And your dreams are going to get crazy. Again, these are all my experiences in my craft. Your experiences and your craft may differ. Don't come for me. Now, when the spirits are angry with me because I refuse to do something, or I haven't done something, or I've just been too lazy to do something, I tend to get vivid nightmares. Okay. It could be my job has fired me. It could be that somebody I'm seeing breaks up with me. It could be that I die. It's weird, I know. It's not a literal death. It just means that something will die that is attached or associated to me. It could be a friendship, a relationship, it could be a job, it could be money, it could be anything, right? So my suggestion to you is when the spirits or whatever it is that you're working with ask you to do something, I'm scratching my stomach because I'm very itchy. When the spirits ask you to do something, do it. Okay, especially if it's something like the Morrigan or Hecate, specifically the Morrigan. I'm just going to go with her as an example because I don't know how other deities are. I just know how the Morrigan is. And if she tells you to do something, with the relationship that we have, because she's not always around all the time, with the relationship that we have, I can generally, if I'm not feeling it that day, like if I don't have the energy that I need to put into the spell, I can usually give her an offering and say, I will do this tomorrow. But then the next day I get this like headache and I get this sense of if I don't do it now, I'm missing out on something, right? Like that's how she kind of gives you this like this feeling of, okay, if you don't do this now, you're going to be missing something, right? With Ashtaroth, he's not really a deity. He was a demon, is a demon, that had come, that the spirits had wanted me to reach out to. So I had reached out to Ashtaroth, right? And he had stuck around for a while. And when the Morrigan would want me to do something, I wouldn't want to do it. Ashtaroth would pop up and be like, you need to do this, right? And I think the whole reason for me meeting, if you will, Ashtaroth was to get was to open the door to working with other demons. It was to open the door to be like, this is a new experience that you could go down. This is a new experience and a new form of energy to work with, right? Because before that, I was working with saints. And like I've said many, many times before, the saints don't give a fuck about you. Okay, again, my experience is my craft. Yours may vastly differ. So the spirit or the saints, they were very much like, oh, you're asking us for money help because your job isn't paying you on time, motherfucker, please. And then it would be like the day before rent was due, and I would beg and plead and wake up the next day with money in the account, right? Like it was one of those things, okay, one of those types of relationships. And I found that to be very toxic, right? But looking back on it, I kind of understand, because the saints were trying to get me to understand the concept of following and sticking to and managing a realistic budget and living within that. I think that's their main lesson, right? And sometimes we don't get these lessons. We don't understand what it is that the spirits or the entities or whatever it is that we're working with are trying to teach us. We may not understand until years after we have finished working with them, right? So I didn't understand fully what it is that they were trying to do. So I started working with spirits and saints and spirits. It's no. Okay. It's just in my craft and in my experiences, it was a no. Okay. It was either the saints or the spirits. I chose the fucking spirits. Now my cat is meowing at me. Mr. Whiskers. Goose. What are you meowing about? I'll figure his shit out later. As long as he's not dead. He's 11. Okay, he's going to be 11 years old. I've had him since he was just a tiny kitten. Christ. He's got, what, 5 years left? I cannot deal with that right now, okay? That is just... Speaking of which, let's divert this topic for a second to talk about dead animals. You're like, oh, God. So your cat dies and you're a witch. What do? Well, first of all, there's the whole calling of the animal people and being like, my animal is dead. Can you come get it? And they probably won't for a couple of days. So you'll be able to do this. Or maybe they'll come the same day, whatever the case may be. What I would suggest to do, obviously, is, go through all of your grief and your burial and your ceremonial stuff that you want to do for your beloved pet. But also do a little ritual. Right? You can do a little ritual to help their soul or their spirit move on, or maybe you want to keep their spirit in an object or something that you can draw upon its magic. Or you could turn its spirit into a servitor that is a familiar spirit that does whatever it is that you want it to do, right? For Mr. Whiskers, I would probably just let him go off wherever cats go when they pass away, right? Wherever their spirits go, right? Because too much grief. Tiny creature that I've had for like 11 years, motherfucker. I'm old. Okay, I'm very old. I used to be pretty. I was looking back. I know we're way off on a tangent, but it's my channel, and if you don't like my channel, then unsubscribe and go away. I was looking back through my photos on my iPhone, and I found a picture of when I was like 25. Okay, I'm still 25. But I found a picture when I was really 25, and I was so much more prettier. I was gorgeous and beautiful, and now I'm aged. Like a wine that's gone horribly bad. Like it's growing things inside of it, okay? It's growing things inside the bottle. That's how aged I am. Okay, so back to spirits, now that we're done with our tangent. Okay, sometimes we have to go on tangents because it's very, very boring sitting here talking to no one. Like, there's no one in chat. There's no one on watching. No one anywhere. I don't know. YouTube Live today is just not working out, okay? I picked the wrong time. I'm sorry. I'll fix this later. So, going back to spirits. So, after the saints had left, and the spirits had gone quiet. And then after I'd reached out to Ashtaroth, after I'd reached out to Morrigan, and after I started working with demons, the relationships that I've developed with demons are interesting to say the least. So with Boone, this leads to the other question that I had that I'm looking on my phone at my comment section on YouTube. And this person says, can you please tell me why Boone didn't visit me personally? She visited me in my dreams, covered me with gold. Well, and first realize that Boone can be male or female when they come to you. And some people pronounce it as Boone or Boonai or Booney or whatever. I pronounce it as Boone. Okay. And when Boone comes to me, Boone is a male form. that I can't like describe what he looks like because it's kind of like a shapeshifter. Like maybe not a shapeshifter. It's kind of like he's not all there. If that makes sense. It's like he's phasing in and out of reality, if you will. It's like he's trying to be on the physical, but he's being, I don't know, it's weird to describe. It is a male form, okay, and it is a human form, but I can't see like the details of his face or the rest of his body. He has these gestures that have these like weird claws, and when they come to me, they like to put their claws on my shoulders and just like right in my face, and I'm like, fuck off. 1 minute. Goose! Whiskers! Stop meowing! Christ. I'm trying to do a live chat here with nobody. I wish people would be more active in the comment section, okay? Like, chat in the live section. It feels so lonely. So, what was I talking about now? Oh, yes. Belith, when I conjure Belith, which I don't do very often, because fuck Belith, right? Belith is a king who is able to make a man and a woman fall in love, take off their clothes, and like rabbits, okay? Citry is also really great for bringing love, but a king is like a long-term thing, okay? So I am sort of, kind of, because this energy is way too intense for me, working with Belith in order to attract a mate to me, because I'm very, very old, okay, and my bones creak when I move. Like, we're at the point where my bones creak when I fucking move, okay? Like, it's not cool. So, when I work with Belith on love spells, I tend to... These types of love spells tend to take a very long time to do, because I'll dress the candle in his oil, maybe in some incense, or candle dressing, that's also an incense, and I will burn it upon a honey jar spell. Okay, I'll burn this candle on a honey jar spell, it'll burn down, blah, blah, blah. But I can't stay at the altar for too long putting energy in, because when I'm conjuring Belith, when I'm asking him to do the thing that I want him to do, the energy is too intense. It's too much. It's like the only way I know how to describe it. 1 minute, people. Anyways, now that we're back. So, the energy... Wait, is this even working? Uh-oh. Can you hear me? I need somebody to comment in the section if you can hear me. War and Peace, are you still there? I need someone to comment if you can hear me, because I don't know if I'm just talking and no one can... You know what? We can go on YouTube and I can figure this shit out myself. Where is it? There it is. No, skip the ad. I need to know if you people can hear me, because I can't see the little green dots on the bar below. Okay, you can hear me. We're good. You're like, what the fuck is going on? So on YouTube Live, there are these dots below, beside a speaker thingy. And usually when I speak, the dots will light up to be green, but they're not lighting up. So I had to go on YouTube and watch my own live stream back, because none of you fuckers are talking in the chat section. So I had to make sure that you could hear me. Anyways, and it seems like you can, so we good. Now, what were we talking about? We were talking about Belith and working with him in terms of love spells. So when it comes to working... Okay, I'm not going to give you advice on working with Belith other than don't. Okay, I mean, you're going to do whatever you want, however you want, and he's going to communicate with you however he feels best. But in my opinion and in my craft, he's too much. Okay, there was a time where I was working a spell, and I was working with my friend. It's one of the grimoire workings. And we had to go to a graveyard to put this jar full of candle wax and all this other crap on somebody's grave. I've told this story before. Anyways, when I conjured Belith and we were walking to the graveyard, right? Like this is after I'd conjured him, after I had done the spell, all that fun stuff. We were walking to the graveyard and I could feel him. I could feel all of his spirits surrounding me. And I could feel it as if I was Belith himself with the long cloak and the armor and just walking with my posse or my army or whatever. It was the weirdest feeling I've ever had, okay? And then walking into a graveyard at night, not only is that creepy and the spiritual energy alone is insanity, but you've also got a demon coming with you. And it's like, oh, okay. So you've got all the spirits of the dead, you've got a king, and it's too much energy. That's what I'm saying. It's too much energy, okay? Personally, for me, too much energy. So in those situations where I have to work with an entity that I feel is too much energy, I usually have my smoky quartz crystal with me. Okay, my smoky quartz crystal is the one thing that helps keep me grounded on the physical plane. It helps keep me centered and controlled, and it helps me to be able to direct my energy better, if that makes any sense. You know, for a minute there, we were probably having sound problems, and none of you people, 5 of you that are now magically watching, commented to be like, oh, we can still hear you. You know why? Because you don't care. No one cares, okay? Sadness. Do I have any tips for those wanting to work with demons? Do your research. As simple as that. Some of these demons are really hard to find information on. Okay, like Boone, Belith, the 72 Goetic demons, they're going to be easy to find information on. It's everywhere. Just Google it. You'll find their sigil. You'll find what colors they like. You'll find what metals they like. Apparently, demons don't like iron. You're not supposed to have anything iron around them. I have 3 cauldrons that are all made of iron, and I usually burn incense in them, or I put petitions in them, or I'm burning candles in them. Demons don't care about iron, okay? A lot of the books out there will tell you that they don't like iron, they won't work with you with iron, they'll get really angry with iron. This isn't Hollywood fiction, okay? The relationship that you build with your demons and with your entities will be different, okay, than the relationship that I've built. So if they don't like iron for you, then don't use iron. But if they love iron for Billy Joe down the street, then use iron, right? You have to figure, like, the information out there on deities, spirits, demons, stuff like that, it's all from one or a few people's perspectives, right? Like, that's why when I talk about working with Morgon, or I talk about working with spirits, or I talk about working with demons, and I tell you to do your research, it's to get a general understanding of what the community of witches who have written books on these particular entities have experienced. Okay, so it's just their experiences, and you have to realize that witchcraft isn't something that you can follow a step-by-step, precise measurements, precise everything direction. Okay, even the 5,000 spell book that has spells, their ingredients, how to do them, those you can change to your liking and still get the same effect, okay? Because it's about the intentions, the energy, okay? It all comes down to energy. It's about the energy that you're putting into something. So if the energy that you're putting into a money spell is turning really negative and really violent for some reason, I don't know why, then I'm not particularly sure that your money spell is going to work out the way that you want. So you need to be in control of your own energy. And it comes down to emotions, because as much as it is Hollywood fiction in terms of Charmed, your emotions really do affect the potency of your magic. Here's an example. If you're doing a curse and you're extremely angry right? Like if the person was in front of you and you had a knife, you'd probably slit their throat. That's how angry you have to be. So let's say you're that angry and you do a curse. Well, your curse could have unintended consequences that just backfire everywhere. Because when your emotions are as chaotic and crazy as being that angry, your magic is as chaotic and crazy in that particular case, okay? If you're really, really sad and you're depressed and you're miserable and you're trying to do a money spell, chances are it might not work. Or it might not work the way that you want it to, or it could have unintended consequences. Because again, your emotions are all over the place. So a witch not necessarily has to be a master of their emotions and be this emotionless Vulcan from Star Trek, but they have to be able to hone in their emotions. They have to be human, okay? And what does that mean? It means that you have to be able to process why you're feeling this way, okay? So I personally, in my craft, love to do curses when I'm pissed because I am able to direct my anger and my energy as a stream right into the thing that I'm putting the curse on, okay? And they're usually very fucking effective. There's a few times where they get crazy and they spin out of control, but that's where a spellbreaker comes in handy. What else is there? Oh yeah, so we were talking about emotions. So you'll want to be kind of like in control of your emotions in the sense of, okay, let's go back to the angry curse example. So you're angry at Bob. I don't know why. I don't know who Bob is. Maybe he's your coworker. And he's like done something that just makes you just want to go home and stab a puppet 350,000 times in the eyeball until he bleeds to death, right? I personally would go home and do that. Chanting my curses and all of that fun stuff. However, a sane person might tell you to go home and reflect and breathe and release and let go of that toxic negative energy. Because at the end of the day, for me, a curse is releasing my toxic negative energy that that person or persons has placed upon me. Okay, that's how I am able to release that. And sometimes I will still have those. This is the unintended consequences side. Sometimes I will still have that anger boiled up inside. I will still have that rage, that spitefulness, right? And that's where I have realized in those particular cases that I should probably back away from the altar and let everything cool down. But I'm the type of person that I'm reactionary, okay? I'm not a thinking and then actionary person. I'm a reactionary. Motherfucker, you come for me, I'll burn your house down. Right? Figuratively, though, okay? Not literally. Houses are expensive. Although, if I have to, I will Molotov cocktail. I will Molotov cocktail that house. You're like, oh, God. Don't let them into America. My car wouldn't even make it to the border, okay? Calm down. The car's probably going to die. Can't think that way. We cannot think that way. The car will not die. Die. She just needs to be fixed. We're having air problems again, okay? So, and it only seems to affect her when she's cold. And I'm not talking like -20 and you turn on the ignition and start driving away. I'm talking like -20 and you like warm up the car and then you drive away. No, she's got air problems, okay? So, a witch should be able to control their emotions in terms of doing magic. So a lot of the times when we do magic, we like to clear our minds, we like to clear our space. There's 7 of you watching and none of you in chat. Get your fucking asses in chat. I'm bored and I'm lonely. Okay, I'm talking about nothing at this point. 7 of you and I'm lonely. No, now there's 6 of you. Probably gonna be 3 of you. There's been 2 of you for the longest time. I don't know if anyone cares anymore. So when I talk about a witch needing to be in control of their energy, like I said, it's not that I need you to, like, you need to be an emotionless person. It's that when you sit down to do magic, you should clear your mind, refocus your energy, right? And I have a spell that we like a video coming where we kind of do this together. I sort of kind of walk you through one of my more elaborate spells, but at the same time, I also don't do the actual spell. But meditation is a vital, important aspect, right? And we don't always have time to just sit cross-legged with our fingers like this, right? And be like, ooh, I'm having a moment. I'm having a moment. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. I think I just had an orgasm. Right? Save the real for the sheep. All these people these days, they just want a quickie hand job. Anyways, you're like, what the hell is going? That came from The Devil's Rejects, okay? You need to watch that movie in order to understand the little clip I just gave you. So we clear our mind, we focus our intentions, and what are our intentions? It's whatever it is that you want done, right? Most of the time, we're already putting intentions into the spells that we're going to do, right? Like, think about it. If you want money, right, you're going to wherever you keep your herbs and your candles, and you're picking out the right herbs and you're picking out the right candles, whatever those are for you, and that's already putting intentions into it. Tequila talked about this in one of her videos from when she was on YouTube. I don't know, she was back, and if she's gone again, I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, so one of her videos, she talks about how when we are gathering our ingredients or thinking about doing a spell, we're already putting the intentions in there. And that's so fucking true. Okay, if you think it's a lie, that doesn't mean that you don't continue to put intentions into it just because you're gathering all the stuff and preparing the spell. Do you like my new tank? Anyways, just because you're putting the ingredients in and dressing the candle and all that, yes, you are putting intentions in, but you also want to focus those intentions and really hone them in. When I work with Deity, when I work with the Morrigan, for example, I can sometimes feel her. If I'm working like a spell that's using her energies, I can feel her sometimes behind me. And it's like she's putting her energy into me, and then I'm putting my energy into whatever the thing is that I'm doing, right? So we talked about demons, we talked about spirits. I answered 2 questions. I got nothing else. I don't know if you people are learning anything from this. No one's talking in chat, but there's many of you here, so. I would ask if you people have any questions, but I doubt I'm going to get anything in the chat section. Christ. Now I have to think of questions. Oh, does Lunar Wisdom have any journal prompts that I can answer? It'll be my last thing that I'll talk about, I promise. So we got to go find her group now. Did you post any journal prompts? Oh my god, she's got new witchy questions. Witchy question number 1. Yes, because none of you were chatting in chat, so I have to go on Facebook to find a fucking question to end off this live chat video, because you people are useless. In what way do you record your journal to becoming witch? Do you keep a book of shadows, a grimoire, or other types of magical journal? Please feel free to share photos of your journal if you desire. Well, you're not going to be able to do that here, but you can at least tell me about your grimoires if you have them. Or if you feel like you want to tell me, you can. And if you feel like you want to show it off, then you can make a video response and leave it as a link in the comment to this video, and I will watch it. Okay? I generally have this thing where I don't like showing off my book of shadows. I don't. I think it takes away some of the mystery, and I think some of the issues with Book of Shadows flip-throughs or grimoire flip-throughs or whatever is because it takes away the mystery. It takes away the mystery of that witch's craft. Like, Tequila has never shown off her Book of Shadows, and she has an enigma of mystery wrapped around a riddle when it comes to her craft. The same thing with Lunar Wisdom and Solitary, right? Like, they might share little bits and details of their craft here or there, or maybe they'll show you how to do a spell or make a protection, sand, or whatever the case may be. But they're not going to sit down and be like, okay, these are These are every single witchy ritual that I've done, and this is how I organize my book. This is blah 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 blah. Now, in relation to how I keep my grimoire, I keep it in a leather-bound book, and I've shown this off before. And if you follow me on TikTok, there's a video where I actually talk about a Book of Shadows. And somebody, okay, I can't go on TikTok because they'll start playing the music, but somebody commented on my TikTok grimoire book and said that a Book of Shadows and a grimoire are vastly different. A Book of Shadows is something that you share, whereas a grimoire is something that you keep private. And I disagree highly with that. To which they said, okay, which is fine. But my disagreement with that is that both books are basically the same thing. Okay. If you look at a grimoire from the 17th century and you look at your Book of Shadows, if you have one, they're almost the same, right? I mean, the grimoire is usually talking about demons or whatever, but your Book of Shadows might talk about your god or goddess. A grimoire is usually talking about spells to make ones invisible, or how to conjure a demon, or whatever. Whereas your Book of Shadows might talk about spells for banishment, or a ritual to connect with the spirits. They're basically the same fucking thing. It's just a different title on what it is. Grimoires are mysterious, ancient, magical texts. That's not always true. I mean, yes, that's how we generally associate them. But a grimoire is nothing more than a magician's, okay, and that's no pronouns involved, but a magician's magical workings. It's just a recording of their particular magical workings in their particular craft or path. Right? So when we talk about a grimoire, or we talk about a Book of Shadows, or we talk about a witchy journal, we're generally talking about the same thing. Okay? Now, there are things like dream journals, shadow working journals, and these are just journals, in my opinion. These are just journals where you might journal down a dream, or you might journal down some emotional epiphany that you've had, or whatever. Right? So, when it comes to recording your spells and your rituals and your deities and your herbs and your moon phases and all that other stuff, doesn't matter if it's called a Book of Shadows or a grimoire. It's all the same damn thing, okay? In my opinion. Now, in what way do you record your journey to becoming witch? Now, I'm believing she's referring to her book, because in her book she does say you might want a journal or a Book of Shadows. And her book, I've done a book review on it, but it Becoming Witch. Okay, that's what the book was called. You can see it on my channel. So, how do I record things into my Book of Shadows? How do I decide? Because some things that I show you guys on YouTube don't make it into my grimoire. Some of these things are just off the top of my head. Maybe here's a new spell or a new way of doing the same spell. Or some things that the spirits have told me, but they've also granted me permission to share it, right? So I will sometimes just do a spell, or we'll make an incense, or we'll make an oil, or we'll do something. And I don't always record these things in my Book of Shadows, or as I like to call it, grimoire. See how interchangeable these are? Like, it doesn't really matter what the hell we call it. It really does depend. So for a long time, I was using my grimoire as a journal, like just a general journal. That's how you got the Grimoire Season 2, right? So you can find that by going to my channel, clicking on playlists, and searching for Grimoire Season 2. Watch Season 1 first. I mean, they don't tie into each other. I mean, they sort of do. I mean, if you want to see some really damaged and broken, twisty stuff, go watch that. But when it comes to recording things in my grimoire, it's usually sometimes the spirits will say that they want this recorded, or a demon, there may be a new demon that I want to work with, and so I will record his or her information into the book. Sometimes I just have a journal entry that I want to do, and it's not in any particular order. It's just wherever I want it in the book. So the leather-bound book that I have does not allow me to undo the straps on the spine to add more pages. Okay, it's not one of those books. However, I could apparently take this book to a store, they would ship it off, and then they would put more pages into it. But I'm not going to do that because this book is very, very important to me. So what have I done to add more pages? I just taped them into the back of the book, right? I bought another leather-bound book that was the exact same as the current leather-bound book, and I just rip out the pages as I need them and just tape them into my grimoire. That has made my grimoire very fat, and it's getting even fatter sometimes. I generally don't like to have two grimoires. Okay, I don't like to have two. Like, I have two right now. I've got this Michael's art book, right? You've all seen it. It's this big-ass black book. It's blank pages inside. It's got some spells and some journal entries and some rituals in there and stuff like that, but I don't feel the same magical energy come off of that book as I do with my leather-bound book, right? When we have a grimoire or a book of shadows for a long time and you're entering your content into it, you're journaling your thoughts and your rituals and your spells and your magical blah blahs into it, it becomes this magically potent book that is just really hard to let go of, even to add another book of shadows. This is my opinion again, right? I have tried to make a new book of shadows, or to take existing content from my book of shadows and put it into something new, to reorganize information, right? To rewrite things, to make it look cleaner or whatever. But every time I start doing that, it's just like the energy that I have to do that just saps out of my body instantly. And it feels like a chore. It feels like it's too much work because there's a lot. There's a lot in this book of shadows, right? And when you're moving from a small book of shadows, maybe you filled it, to maybe say a D-ring binder. I don't know about you, but for me, it just feels like I don't want to do this. I just want to keep one book, right? Did she put anything else in this? Wasn't there another question? Do you keep a book of shadows or a grimoire or other type of magical journal? As I already stated, I keep a grimoire. I have two, but I only have one. And then there's the please share photos if you want to. I'm not going to do that, okay? So we're at 4 minutes left to an hour, and I want to keep going, but none of you are chatting, and I don't have anything to talk about. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes to get into that live chat and give me a subject, or I'm going to hit end stream. No? No? No one? Really? Do you people can hate me that much? Only War and Peace. Get it? War in Peace. War and Peace. Isn't there a book called War and Peace? I don't know. I don't know. I give up. Okay, I give up. I love all of you. But I do, since none of you are chatting, I do hope that some of you gained something out of this today, okay? I just want to kind of summarize some of the things that we talked about in the last 2 minutes that we have. We talked about spirits and how often I connect with them, and we did our tangents. We talked about demons, okay, and my thoughts of working with them. We talked about Book of Shadows, okay. We talked about various other things. We also talked about Lunar Wisdom and how she's not here in this chat, and it's saddening. And we talked about how Solitary is not here in this chat, and it's saddening. And I bet you they're just both going to show up in like the last minute, and I'm going to be like, fine, I'll stick around for another hour. But guess what? We're 40 seconds to like the 59-minute mark, and I bet you no one's going to say anything. So if you have a topic or a suggestion, now is the time. Oh my God. Oh no, I missed the start of your live. You did. You did. You missed a lot. But if Robin Rain has a topic, we could stick around for another hour. You're like, oh God, go away. Oh, come on. You've got like 1 minute and 10 seconds to come up with one more topic. I don't have any more topics. See, this is the other problem. The Witchy Show has run out of topics. You're like, wait, what? Seriously? Okay, this is a very serious problem because I don't know what to do at this point. The Witchy Show has officially run out of topics. I recorded 16 videos over the course of a month, and in the last 2 videos, I basically stated that I have officially run out of topics. I have nothing else to talk about. I've talked about everything. Okay, we got like, I don't know, 30 seconds left. The Witchy Show is officially out of topics. Okay, I don't have any new video ideas. I've shown you everything in my craft. I've talked about everything in my craft. I've given you every opinion I have. I've given you every thought I have on everything that I could possibly think of to talk about. And now I have nothing. Okay, the Witchy Show after April, probably, I don't know. I don't know what will happen because I don't have any topics. And in the last 2 videos for the April content, I say the exact same thing. So we need topics. Or it's been 4 years, people. I've talked about everything. Love you.